Hey, I'm Jusko from ProbMoney.com. We are going to rank the 5 best new credit cards of 2024 in this video. That means cards that came out this year. Still a couple weeks left in the year, but I can't imagine we're going to get any new big intros right here around the holidays. So we are going to go for it now. We're going to count them from 5 up to 1. And if you have thoughts of other cards I missed or you don't like my ranking and would love to hear about it in that comment section below. Otherwise, let's go. All right, number 5 on the list is the One Key cards from Expedia, Hotels.com, and VRBO, or Vrbo as they like to be called. So that is one group that in the past, Expedia has had a credit card, Hotels.com has had a credit card, but this is the first time all of them have been brought together under this new One Key branding and the One Key rewards program and One Key credit card. So there's a One Key card and there's a One Key Plus card, no annual fee, and then the other one has a $99 annual fee. But if you like to book travel in this way through a travel portal, if you've been using Expedia forever, maybe use Hotels.com, do vacation rentals through Vrbo, this is a way for you to earn good rewards on those purchases that you make through those travel booking portals, and then pretty good rewards otherwise. So you can get up to 9% on your Expedia and Hotels.com, up to 5% on Vrbo, and then you're getting 3% on gas, restaurants, groceries, either 1.5% or 2% on your other purchases, depending on which card you have. Now, all of these percents I'm saying are in One Key Cash, which can only be used on these same properties, Expedia, Hotels.com, and Vrbo. So you have to be someone, again, who likes to book in this fashion and is good with getting your rewards in that way, but overall pretty generous cards. Now, if you were trying to choose between the two cards, I would actually go for the $99 annual fee One Key Plus card because it has better rewards, and every year it gives you $100 in One Key Cash, which is $1 more than the $99 annual fee that the card has. And again, if you are good with booking this way and you like rewards that are going to be used toward future travel in the same manner, well then why not pay the $99 annual fee, get the $100 in One Key Cash back, and get better rewards than you would get with the no annual fee card. But that is up to you, and that is number 5. All right, moving up to number 4, it is the Wells Fargo Attune MasterCard. Now, this is a card that I would not necessarily recommend as your everyday card for all of your purchases, but a very good supplementary card to other credit cards that you might have because it has no annual fee and it gives you 4% in rewards on a lot of categories where you would not get enhanced rewards from other cards. And so those are things that include pet care, entertainment, cable and streaming services, gym memberships, spas, beauty parlors and barber shops, gardening stores, hobby stores, sporting goods, movie theaters, all kinds of stuff falling under this umbrella of 4%. They kind of give them these different categories here, but you have all kinds of stuff that falls underneath that. Now, you're not getting an enhanced reward on things like restaurants and gas stations and grocery stores, and the things that oftentimes are the sort of big earners on other credit cards out there on the market. So it almost makes more sense to have other cards that you're going to get an enhanced reward on those big categories and have this as a complimentary card for some of those other purchases that really on the credit card market you're not going to find those enhanced rewards, because with this Attune card, 4% on all those sort of interesting categories, but then only 1% on everything else. Number 3 on the list, also from Wells Fargo, a busy year for them. It is the Wells Fargo Autograph Journey card. Now, this is a travel credit card, but it's a little different than other travel credit cards on the market in that it is probably more about rewarding you for purchasing travel with the card than it is about earning points and miles that you're going to use for future travel, although you do have the option to do that. But if you're someone that does a lot of traveling, but you're not necessarily into like collecting miles and points and figuring out how you're going to use them in the future, you could just take them really as sort of simple cash back with this card and earn a lot on the actual purchases of travel that you are making. So $95 annual fee on this card, you're going to get 5 points per dollar, or you could think of as 5% cash back on hotel purchases made with the card, 4 points per dollar or 4% cash back on airline bookings that you make directly through the airlines with the card, 3% at restaurants or 3 points per dollar. And then you'd also get 3 points per dollar or 3% on other travel. And so that's going to include things like car rentals, cruise lines. If you book travel not directly with the airlines or hotels and went through a travel agent or through like a discount travel site, that would get you the 3 points, and then 1% back on everything else. You can get a $50 up to $50 credit every year when you use the card to book an airline ticket with the airlines. So if you're going to get this card, you're probably going to do that once a year, otherwise you probably wouldn't get this card. So most likely you're going to get that $50 credit as well. Now you have a bonus opportunity as I make this video, 60,000 points if you spend $4,000 with the card in the first few months of having it. So again, 60,000 points, if we think a penny per point, either going to give you at least $600 in cash back as a statement credit, or you potentially could use that toward travel. And of course you could use all the other points toward travel or cash back as well. So again, this is a card a little bit more geared toward people that do a lot of traveling and pay for travel, but aren't so hung up in terms of collecting points and miles for future travel purchases. And it's a little different in the market, I think. Number 2 on the list, the US Bank Smartly Visa. Now, all kinds of chatter about this card this year, and so I won't go too far down the rabbit hole here, but this is a card that is going to give you 2% cash back at its base on a no annual fee card, but you could get up to 4% cash back on all of your purchases. Now, in order to get up to 4% cash back, you also would have to have a US Bank savings account, and you would have to have over $100,000 with US Bank, either in savings or another deposit account, and or in investments with US Bank. So you have to have $100,000 with US Bank in order to get that full 4%. Now you could get 2.5% on all your purchases or 3% on all your purchases with lesser amounts with US Bank, but no matter how you slice it, you got to have some money with US Bank beyond just the credit card if you want to get those higher cash back rates. So when I look at this card, obviously if you have $100,000 already with US Bank, it would be a no-brainer to get a no annual fee card that's going to give you 4% cash back. Whether it's worth it to move money into US Bank is going to depend on, probably number one, how much money you have to move around and how easily you can do so, and whether you think that extra is worth it for you. The more you would spend on the credit card every year, obviously the more it's going to be worth it to you to get an extra 2% on top of that sort of 2% base rate. And also it depends on how many cards you want to juggle. So for me, this card feels a little bit like some hoops to jump through that doesn't excite me as much as it excites some people, but that again is up to you. How much do you spend? Do you want to move money into US Bank? Do you already have money with US Bank? All of those questions, but still a very interesting and even at its base, a good new credit card here in 2024. All right, so that brings us to number 1. If you think back over the course of the last year and you say, what credit card has he not mentioned yet? You are going to come to the Robinhood Gold card at number 1. Now, I was a little skeptical of this card when it was first announced. Number 1, I didn't know how long it was going to take them to actually start rolling it out, and the rollout has been a little shaky, but overall I have sort of come around on it, and here is why. It is a card that gives you 3% cash back on all of the purchases that you make with the card. Now, in order to get the card, you have to be a member of Robinhood Gold, which is a $50 per year fee in order to have that Robinhood Gold membership. There are other aspects to Robinhood Gold, most of them having to do with investing, whether that is greater rewards on your investing or lower fees on investments with Robinhood. But for purposes of this video, I'm going to take that $50 and just treat it as if it was an annual fee on the card itself. So if you had a 3% reward cash back on all of your purchases and you had a $50 annual fee, even if you don't spend like crazy on the card, it is still a decent deal. So let's say you put $5,000 per year on the card in purchases. That gets you $150 in cash back. Even with a $50 annual fee, it would still be $100 cash back. That would be 2%. So there's sort of your baseline at 2% if you spend at least $5,000 on the card. If you spend $10,000 on the card per year, even with that $50 annual fee, you're looking at a 2.5% cash back effective rate. If you spent $20,000 on the card and had that $50 annual fee, 2.75% effective cash back rate after the annual fee. And it's kind of no muss, no fuss. Otherwise, you are getting straight cash back on all of your purchases. You don't have to move money in or do any kind of money moving around like you would have to with that US bank card. Now, obviously, the top tier here is less than what you would get with that US Bank Smartly card. But as far as I'm concerned, there's less that you have to think about in order to do this, less of a commitment, even though you have to pay that $50 to be part of Robinhood Gold. Because if you thought of it as an annual fee, it's just like really any other credit card that has an annual fee, and then you are doing the equation from there in terms of how you feel about it. Now, if you're someone that doesn't spend very much on your credit cards, this would not be a great deal because, again, under $5,000 per year, you're going to be getting less than 2% effectively after that annual fee, and so you might not like it as much unless you love everything else about Robinhood Gold. But I put this one over the US Bank Smartly Visa because of the fact that I think it is a little simpler and less of a commitment, but if you're willing to make that bigger commitment, you might like that US Bank card better. So that's it for this video. Would love to hear your thoughts about these cards, whether I ranked them correctly, whether there are other cards that I forgot here in 2024 that you think should have been part of these top 5. Put it all in that comment section below. Otherwise, I thank you for watching. If you do not have a comment or a question, the next thing you're going to want to do is watch this video that you may have missed.